Okay, we want to welcome everybody to our regularly scheduled first meeting in September. Will everybody please rise? Vicki, if you'd lead us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us here today. We ask that you bless all those present. We send a special request to you that you provide comfort and understanding to the victims of Hurricane Katrina. That your Holy Spirit guide us to know how we can assist those in need. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Commissioner Collins, if you'd lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you please be seated? Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we have our public comment period where anyone in the community can come and speak to an item that's on our agenda. We also have a second public comment period at the end of our meetings where anyone can speak to an item even if it's not on our agenda. We just ask that you, when you come, that you sign in with our receptionist, and we do have a couple of folks signed up to speak. I'll call first of all on Mr. Frank Lassane, speaking on agenda item number 6. Mr. Lassane?
Commissioners and directors, thank you. I'm having a problem with my leases down there in the corner, and this is an agenda item, leases. And it seems like y'all leased a piece of property of people that just don't seem to want to get along with anybody. And I don't know why that piece of property was leased in the shrimp basin to start with, because the shrimp basin was built for fishermen. And that's what the shrimp basin is supposed to be about, just shrimp boats. We used to be the banana dock. We're not there anymore. They built this special area for us. And this other business that's happening here next door to us, it's not blending in with us at all. They don't want to be neighborly. They don't want to do anything. They just keep on creating us problems. My secretaries don't want to pass through all these cars. Even today, when I went to my business place today, this man that's sitting right there was sitting there blocking the road. And, I mean, I don't know why y'all would lease a piece of property like that to people like that, and especially to harass the lessees in the shrimp basin and in my area anyway. And this has been going on for quite a while. Y'all been made aware of it. I even had to speak to Don about it, and it seems like nobody wants to take care of that problem. And it seems like it goes on and on and on. This problem don't stop like this here. Y'all supposed to take care of our properties. That's what y'all were elected for. Y'all elected officials, and y'all supposed to, when y'all lease a piece of property, to lease it that it blends in with the rest of the people in the community, in that area. That business does not blend in our area. Once you go down the street, the welding and things like that, it hits your eyes. When you try to make the left turn there, you're already blind from the weldings. They don't have no blinds. They don't have no parking area. They don't have anything. I don't know how y'all come about to lease that piece of property. And that's all I have to say at this point. I'm not going to take any more time. But that has to be cleared up. That harassment has to stop. Like even today, I mean, you know, there's no reason for that. I got his license number, and I had 2 of your workers that was there cleaning out the greens that was coming this way. He had the roads blocked. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Lassane.
That needs to be cleared up.
We'll take that up at the meeting. Next speaker signed up is Mr. Carlton Reyes.
I'll pass it.
Okay.
Correct.
Judge Leonel Alejandro?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, for allowing me the opportunity to speak here today. And let me just make myself clear here that I'm here in the capacity as a lessee, not any other capacity, and this is the first time I really appear before you concerning any issue. I know that at the time that we leased this property, I didn't make any appearances, and y'all were, we were fortunate that you were able to approve our lease. Let me just say a couple of things I think addressed Mr. Lassane here. Number one, I've never had any personal problems with Mr. Lassane myself, and I don't think any of my employees have had any problems with him. Let me address first the issue of why this piece of property was leased for something other than shrimping. Well, I mean, that's something that's discretionary for the commission to decide. But, Mr. Roca has had a facility there for years, and they were a fabricating facility. So, again, that's a decision for the commission.
You took over Mr. Rucka's property?
Mr. Rucka is a property that's adjacent to ours. We're along the waterway, and his property, is right next to us. And I think at one time he even leased the property where we're at and did fabrication there years ago, and had a lot more employees than we have right now. So it's not like this area, and if you look at the improvements that were there in the ground already at the time we leased it, you have pilings in there, you have beams in there. I mean, it's all been a structural type of fabricating facility. There's no question about it. If you looked at the power source at the time, it's been for that kind of business. So I'm somewhat surprised that our neighbors at least are taking issue with that. All we're trying to do, we're not being disrespectful for anybody. All we're trying to do is create jobs and have an efficient operation. We haven't gone to interfere with anybody else's business. To the contrary, Mr. Lezane has come on our property and harassed my superintendent about this issue. So, but since Mr. Lezane was the one that initiated this complaint about parking, we did the appropriate thing. I let my manager, Mr. Gonzalez, talk to the port director, had the port director meet him out there, looked at the way the cars were parked. Port director said that they were fine. I thought it was a dead issue. And I'm somewhat surprised that it's, when I learned that it was on the agenda, it was a matter that was still outstanding. So to me, I think that, as a commission, you've asked authority on the port director to make decisions, and I haven't had the opportunity to meet the new director, but I'm sure that that's part of what he wants to do. He wants to make decisions, and no different than Donna did. You vest that authority in that position, and it's their discretion to make a call like that, and it was approved that it was fine the way the cars were. They're not on the street completely. They parked at an angle. They do not block the street. They're not a hazard to anybody. They don't park in front of anybody's entrances or exits. They don't even park on the other side of the street. They park on our side of the street. So I don't understand. Maybe today I have a better sense why we have this issue. And the issue is they don't. All right? And, we're not bothering anybody. We're just trying to do our business. We're not interfering with anybody else.
You never received a citation from the police department?
Well, I think there was a warning issued after, sometime last week. There was somebody from security went over there and put a warning ticket on the cars. But this is after, again, the port director had said it was okay. And I think the port director was out of town at the time this happened, at least when we tried to contact to see what was going on. And so, that's why I say I'm somewhat surprised that this issue is even an issue before you're here today. But let me address if the concern is that our cars are obstructions or they're safety hazards, then really this commission needs to look beyond that. Because, and I don't have a beef with the shrimping industry. I've always been a big supporter of the shrimping industry. But if you're going to look at it from the standpoint that there's a hazard, then you need to look at this issue of these cables get stretched down the roads. That to me is a hazard.
Cables used in the shrimping industry.
That's correct. That to me is a hazard. That to me leaves debris on the road that's potentially harmful for tires and things of the sort. And they're harder to see before you can realize that you're on top of a cable. So I'm not advocating here you ought to do away with that. But if this commission wants to do something, let's say if they feel the cars are a problem, then to me the cables are equally a problem. So that's kind of my position. I appreciate you taking me first. As I indicated, I have a speaking engagement at the university I already committed to. But we're not here to cause any problems for anybody. That's not our intent. And I don't understand why we're not being well received. Nobody else from the shrimp basin has come and made an issue of this thing. And so I don't know. I think my position is, if Mr. Lezane wanted this property, they had an opportunity to lease it for many years. Property was there. It's a piece of property that was available. It's a piece of property that's doing something positive for the port. He's creating jobs. He's going to create more jobs. But we just want to be good neighbors. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Judge.
I'd like to readdress what he just said.
Mr. Lassane, we'll have you comment further at the time that we call the actual agenda
True
item.
what he said.
At the time that we
I
actually...
had an incident today.
Okay. When we call the actual agenda item, if there's more comment needed, we'll call back on you, okay? Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to have to leave. If there's any for a rebuttal, Mr. Gonzalez can address the issue.
Very good, sir. Thank you, Judge.
Peter, can I say something
Yes, sir.
about the subject?
Yes.
That Omni Shipyard was there previous, and they are the ones that put in the large concrete slab and bulkheaded that property. And they built a large barge there. So, I mean, it was leased for other things other than shrimping before this.
Yes.
And me and Julius are the old guys around here, and we go back that far, you know.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in detail when we call the actual agenda item. Let's see. The next person that is signed up to speak is Mr. Gonzalez.
I'll defer to
Oh, when we call the agenda item? Okay. Mr. Dalby Linwood? Okay. And welcome, Judge Hinojosa. You've signed up to speak on item number 12.
Yes.
Would you like to speak now?
Sure,
Or?
I would if I could.
And let me take this opportunity to introduce you to our new port director,
I would
Bernie
like
List.
to-
This is our county judge, Judge Gilbert Hinojosa.
Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
But please help yourself, sir.
Well, I came to speak on item number 12, which is the action item on participating in the expenses for the application for the U.S. Corps of Engineer permit to improve the flow of water from the ship channel to SH 48 Dia Ancha Maximum. As I understand, and I'm new to this issue with respect to this particular ship channel cut that is being proposed, the navigation district is wanting to open up another channel to flood a portion of the bahias next to the high school is what I understand. When we've been working on this project for 3 years and did a lot of planning, but it didn't really get carried out until the port came on board and put their money where their mouth was and actually helped finalize the project and actually built the temporary channel that now has flooded. I would venture to say 2/3 of all the bahias, and has made all the difference in the world for our community. I travel to Washington, D.C. on a regular basis on various projects that the county is involved with today, and I always travel with my hat in my hand to ask for money. And I go there and I meet with congressmen and senators and staff of senators and people from the Army Corps of Engineers and different agencies about all the projects that we're working on, including the bridge projects that we've been working on, the realignment of the intercoastal waterway, interoperability systems that we want to complete funding on, and so forth. And this last time that I went, we had just finalized the proposal of cutting the ship channel that bears the name of one of your esteemed board members. And we hadn't cut it yet, but we were in the process of doing that. And it was almost like when I went to talk to all these folks, when I told them what it was going to do, which was flooding, 10,000 acres of desert and turning them into the largest wetland reclamation project in the history of not just the United States, but probably of the world, they forgot about everything else I was talking about, and they just wanted to listen to that. And these are not people who you normally would consider environmentalists. The people that we usually get into disputes with when we start large infrastructure projects are the ones that usually come and support these kinds of projects 100%. They're easy to bring about. These people are people who are bureaucrats, who are congressmen, senators, who are dealing with other issues that seem to be more important than this. But this is something that amazed them and really thrilled them, and we saw that it was something that they saw that it was something very, very positive, not just for our community, but for the community of the United States. So I think this project that is being proposed by the Navigation District to take the second step in flooding one of the problem Bahias is a good project. Cameron County, I'm here to tell you, supports it. We do also put our money where our mouth is. I'm just 1 out of 5 votes, but I will tell you that, you know, when it comes to stepping up to the plate, we're prepared to step up to the plate and do our share, and we fully support it. We want to commend the Navigation District for the leadership that it is showing in this field, and we want to tell you that let's get this thing started as quickly as possible, and we're on board, and we will help try to bring other partners to the table who bring resources as well, and get this segment of the Bahias flooded as quickly as possible. We are working, by the way, on other projects with the Texas Department of Transportation, the USDA, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife to bring in some of the fresh water on the other side of Highway 100 that will mix in with the water that's coming in from the ship channel today, which is that environment that we need for that estuary that is so important to our shrimping industry here in South Texas. And we're hoping once we get through the permit process that we will be able to build a channel to feed some of that flood water that builds up near the Laguna Madre Water District area and close to Laguna Vista, and get that water into the Bahias that will then blend with the salt water and create that environment. And once we get the money for the permanent channel, and by the way, I'll be going to Washington, D.C. in about 2 weeks, and that's one of the things on my agenda, then I think we'll have a beautiful situation that this new project that is being proposed will make all the difference. I didn't see you back there, Bob. Bob, one of the founders of this project, is here, and so we're here to support it. And as I mentioned before, we're here not just to say we support it, but we want to sit down with you and work out a funding formula to see where we can get the money to start the studies, and then ultimately to get the money to do the construction.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. You're always welcome here, and thank you for your continued cooperation. Joe, will you be sticking around for that agenda item?
Yes, I will.
Okay, good deal. Thank you so much, Judge.
Thank you all. Nice to meet you, sir.
That concludes our public comment. Does anyone else wish to speak to an item that is on the agenda that hasn't signed up? If not, we'll move to the first item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of August 17th, as well as the minutes of the audit committee meeting of August 10th.
Move to approve both of them.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Item number 2, report from our interim director, Donna.
Yes, sir. First off, I'd just like to introduce to everyone our new port director, Mr. Bernard Liss. We welcome him to the port, and in that you'll be getting an invitation in the mail. We're going to have a get-to-know-you reception for him on September the 14th from 5 to 7, so we hope that all our lessees and any officials from the city and the county and our different municipalities around will come and meet Mr. Liss and get to know him. Also, the lessees and the employees will be coming to this as well. Also, another flyer went out to our lessees and I think to the board members. Vicki Mercado is doing a donation request list for the hurricane victims. Vicki's always very efficient and jumps on causes. I think she worked with our chairman, and she set up a box that she's taking items that will go through the Red Cross. She's also taking cash contributions, and she's gotten several in. So want to send the money. When Mr. Liss came down, he started right away and started contacting the different ports that were affected by that. And you just don't know how much it means to those people, for us, the Port of Brownsville, to reach out to them and offer our help. That could just as well have been us in that situation. So when everybody gets ready to give their donations, just remember that, because it could have very well been Brownsville. So everybody needs to pitch in and do the best they can for that. Also, we got a very nice thank you card today from the Port of Freeport. Freeport unloads a tremendous amount of fruits and vegetables that come through their port, and they have a crane exactly like ours. In fact, they taught us how to operate our crane, and their spreader bar went down, and we lent them our spreader bar, and so they sent a very, very nice thank you card to the port, and I'll pass it around if anybody wants to see it. Also, we worked up our holiday vacation for Christmas, Thanksgiving, and New Year's. I'll pass that around and just ask you to look at that, and if you have any comments or changes, please let us know before it's posted. I've been speaking to Glenn LeMunyon about a trip to Washington. He has emailed me back that the week of the 26th would be very good for him.
Of what month?
Of this month, September. They're back in session. They're working on a lot of issues, so he said that he thought it would be a very appropriate time to come up and be travel on the 26th, and he'd set up meetings on the 27th all day, and then you would meet and have maybe a luncheon on the 28th and then return home. It's a pretty short trip, but he's got all that scheduled. So I know that Commissioner Cristiano had voiced an expression that he would like to attend, Mr. List, and so if there's anybody else that would like to go, Roy, then we'll just get all that set up. And now is a very opportune time, because our funding, as you said, is maybe cut short because of all the issues with the Corps, and so we want to just make sure that our money is secured. And then we have one more dedication ceremony at the Bahia Grande. I think this is going to be the last one, but it's going to be on September the 19th. The college sent out invitations. I received mine in the mail today. We're going to do the unveiling of the sign, dedicating that as Mr. Gaiman's channel, so that'll be on September the 19th from 9 to 10. We'll be giving tours. Fish and Wildlife will be on their side. And then after lunch, everybody will go back to the university, and that's when the research, they have a very nice video that Breeden McCumber did. So it should be a very, very nice day for the Bahia. And that's all I have.
Wonderful. Mr. List?
Well, since I'm the new kid on the block, I don't have a large report, but and to be quick, I first of all, I'm very delighted to be here, and it's exciting because of the dynamics of the staff that I've seen so far, and the energy that's going forward to seek new business, and all of that is certainly a part of what I want to be involved in. But just one item that I could share, and yesterday was able to go down to the docks and see some of the movement of the steel slabs coming in, and what that entails. Some of those slabs are and you all are familiar with them, are like 30 tons, and 2 giant forklifts carrying them together. This is a very unique operation that happens here, and it's something we have to continue to support and promote. But anyway, when I work with the Tampa Port Authority, where they have the steel conference every year, and they go on and on about how they're the largest steel import port in Florida, and they do like 350,000 tons a year on a good year, and the fellow from APM was there. Well, we can do that in a month, and so we don't want to embarrass them, but just to know the magnitude of what's already happening here and how important it is to be a part of their logistics and make sure that all of this gets to its destination on a timely basis, that we have the space and the cranes work and everything follows through. So I was very impressed with that, to the point that one of the gentlemen there started doing the numbers about steel slabs. So Tampa says they're the largest steel import port for Florida, and he thinks, and I'd like to look at the numbers before we put that on any of our documentation, that we are the largest steel slab importer, or steel slab handling port in the United States, not just in one state. So might be a little something we can latch on to stand out and be recognized for something very special. And a lot of other things, but I'll save them for another time. Thank you.
Well, let me say this. Those of you that that follow us closely might have remembered that Mr. List was actually scheduled to start on September 12th, which was actually this coming Monday. But as we all know, sometimes plans change, and after the hurricane hit New Orleans, I started getting copied on emails from Mr. List to Donna about opportunities that needed to be taken advantage of, unfortunately due to the circumstances that happened in New Orleans, but opportunities that needed to be taken advantage of that he wanted to be a part of and wanted to be at the helm here in order to do so. And he let it be known that, especially because Interstate 10 between Mississippi and Alabama was closed, and he needed to go from across Interstate 10 coming from Florida to move, he wanted it to be known that he would be more than happy to start today or yesterday to take advantage of some of these opportunities for all of you. But at some point in the future, he'd need to go back and pick up his wife and his family.
Yes.
And I thought it was a great idea, and I talked to each commissioner about it, and they thought also that it was a great idea. So we want to thank you for, obviously, under these circumstances, we wish it was a different situation, but we want to thank you for...
I just add that all the people we were able, it's difficult for the communication. I thought it was going to be a little easier. Couldn't thank us enough. Whether it generates a pound or a ton, they were very grateful, and they'll remember us for opening our doors to their needs.
Very good. Very good.
I kind of want to also say, thank you, Vicki, very much for taking the lead on this. I think you're always stellar at running with this, and if we can get the camera on her, she's blushing now. but on a serious note, I think there are a lot of victims with the hurricane, and one of the things that I just heard of, and I heard from several people, was that Brownsville is probably going to be the placement of about 1,000 evacuees. And what they're going to be needing is, they're going to be needing a lot of things, but really we can really help our community by helping the Red Cross so these people can have, a place to sleep and food to eat. And I promise you'll get a check from me in the morning, giving a donation. And hopefully, everybody has their own incomes, but whether it's $1, $5, $100, $1,000, but whatever you can give, it's always good to help our fellow citizens and people that are coming to our area. And it will be the Red Cross, is it the Red Cross, but the local chapter, correct?
100%.
Yes.
100%. So all the money we donate from the port is going to go to the Red Cross for our area only. So please, everybody, look inside of yourselves and give a little bit.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I'm sure everybody agrees. Thank you for taking the lead on this, Vicki, and for making us proud again. Okay, another happy item. Item number 3, consideration and adoption of resolution and issuance of proclamation expressing the board's appreciation to Donna Emard for her service as interim port director. And I have a proclamation here. If we have a resolution, if we have a motion.
So moved.
We have a second? Second. Any discussion? Would anybody care to disagree? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, there are none. Let me read this on behalf of the board. A resolution of the Board of Navigation and Canal Commissioners of the Brownsville Navigation District of Cameron County, Texas, in honor of Donna Emard. Whereas Donna Emard has proven to be invaluable during the past 5.5 years to the Port of Brownsville, and whereas Donna Emard has provided outstanding performance and commitment to the Port of Brownsville staff during a time of needed guidance and leadership, and whereas Donna Emard met and exceeded the board's expectations when selected as the interim port director from January through August of 2005, whereas Donna Emard had the honor of being a recipient by the Gulf Shipper magazine's first annual Leading Women in Gulf Transportation of 2004, among other outstanding female colleagues based on her short but impressive maritime career. And whereas Donna Emard, through more than 20 years of living in Brownsville, has provided unselfish contributions and service to this community through her dedication to organizations such as the United Way, American Cancer Society, and the American Heart Association inside and outside the Port of Brownsville. And now, therefore, be it resolved and ordered by the Board of Commissioners of the Brownsville Navigation District, hereby expresses its sincere recognition and appreciation to Donna Emard in hopes she will continue to be a part of the Port of Brownsville for many years to come. Adopted by the Board of Navigation and Canal Commissioners of the Brownsville Navigation District of Cameron County, Texas, this 7th day of 2005, and it has a space for all of our signatures, and we will all gladly sign it.
Donna.
Thank you very much.
We'll sign that during the break. Okay, next item, item number 4, presentation of the Employee of the Month for August. Joe Sabin.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, our winner of the Employee of the Month award for August is 27-year veteran Eddie Rivera. Eddie is a supervisor at the wastewater treatment plant. During our recent brush with Hurricane Emily, Eddie left his home twice in the middle of the storm, braving heavy rain and 45-mile-an-hour winds to check on the systems to keep the oil from spilling into the channel. Due to Eddie's diligence and dedication to his job, a disaster was diverted. Eddie couldn't be here tonight, but on his behalf, he wants me to tell you that he really appreciates the recognition and the award.
Very good.
So thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item, item number 5, presentation by Mr. Ivo Goga from the 2005 Blessing of the Fleet and Gulf Shrimp Fiesta regarding sponsorship request. Carlton, are you going to handle this for him, or?
No. You haven't talked to me all day, so I don't know where to begin.
I don't see Ivo here.
I wouldn't know where to begin.
Let's go ahead and table it.
We'll go ahead and table it, and I'll recall it at the end of the meeting. If not, we'll... What do you think, Jason?
He should be here. I don't know what. I know it's going to be in October sometime, but I don't know what date he said.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and recall it later on in the meeting. Item number 6, discussion of parking issues at the fishing harbor.
All right.
Mr. Collins?
Yes. As you all know, Judge Alejandro was here. We leased a piece of property to him that used to belong to Roca, that was used for building boats and other things. From what I can understand, Judge Alejandro has been subcontracted by, I believe, MFELS, I'm not for sure, to build certain orders for the industry, for the oil industry. It was brought to my attention there was a parking problem there. Judge Alejandro said he was going to hire with 100 people, and no, we're not against that, man. We want people to be working. But I was told there was a parking problem, and I went out there, and actually there was a parking problem. We do have an ordinance, and I might just read the first line of it. It shall be unlawful for any person in charge of any motor vehicles to park, cause to be parked, or stop any vehicle in, along, or upon any district roads, or park any vehicle in front of or within less than 8 feet of either side of fire hydrant. It goes on. In other words, the port you cannot park on the road. Of course, only maybe for some kind of delivery for a while. And being brought to my attention, I decided to go and look at it, and I noticed it. Cars were parked on both sides of the road, and it was hard to pass. Now, I believe George went and asked them to park right, and they tried to do it. But apparently they built a fence, and if they would have just built a fence 8 feet further in, they would have all kind of parking space nose against the fence. But they tried to do that, and then they got nose against the fence, but 2 back wheels of the car and the trunk on the road. So that did not constitute parking outside the road. And that's the problem we have now. Yesterday I wanted that. It was all parked parallel against the fence. It was parked right. And I have different shrimpers come up to me and says, you know, sometimes we want to get out there and we have trouble passing there. I didn't bring any suggestion to vote on this motion now. I brought it for discussion, and I see some solution. Now, I don't know if Judge Alejandro want to take my solution.
Well, we have the superintendent here who can respond.
You build a gate, you know, in the back so you can, on the end where the railway is at, there's a stretch there. You could put a gate and park your cars inside the gate, which would have no effect at all on the road. It'll only take to put gates and put maybe some caliche or limestone. You know what I'm talking about, right on the east stand against where the railroad is. That's one solution I would suggest. Well, I'm just putting that out. I don't know if you want to do it or not. Another one is there's a lot right across the street there, and it's not a waterfront lot. What is it?
It's a corner lot.
Corner lot. How many feet? 100 feet?
And it's about 200 by 400.
No, well, there's no 400 feet there.
It's a corner lot right here.
Yeah, it's 200 by.
Yeah, I mean it's
about
got
200. And that lease is for $100 a foot a month. Is that right?
The street frontage, one side.
Yeah, all right. So, but it's not waterfront. So you could lease that lot for $200 a month, and build a parking lot that which would take all the cars out of the on side, and it'd be all free and clear. And then
that would solve the problem.
It would solve the problem. Also, I understand Roca is not doing any work now, so you might be able to sublease from local, asking permission to park the cars inside Roca, just to get the cars out of the way. And that's what my concern. And that was my concern, that the shrimp is going to come up to me and said, sometimes they park right, other times we have problems. As far as the cable, now I will have to disagree with Alexander, because this shrimp basin was built, I believe, in 1954. They moved it in the first time, and you got cables all twisted up on the drum. You have to pull it out on the road, untwist it and twist it, and it's been done for 50 years now. Of course, sure, it's dangerous, when you're driving the road, but it's pulled out and it's rolled back on. I mean, that's been done now. I don't know if he wants to stop them from doing that, but I don't believe he'll go far in doing that. That's been done forever, since the port's there. But those are the recommendations I have. If you would just try to find some ways of getting the cars off of there. Now you only have a few people hired. Now suppose you have 100 people hired, you'll have 100 cars there. What you'll do with the cars? You need to park them somewhere.
Well, if I can answer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's just recommendation.
Okay. I spoke with Donna, and she looked at the parking. She pointed out some that were out of their tires were on the road, and we corrected them. Since then, we parallel parking the road. Now, we're looking at an option of the corner lot. The opposite end of our facility, next to that area, is out of the question. That whole area will be full.
All right.
Within the next 6-7 months, it'll be full. So you may see 75 or 100 people on a shift, 2 shifts.
So how many cars would that be if you have 75 people?
Well, it'd be the same amount of cars you see out there right now, maybe 30 full cars or more. That's why we're looking at options.
But for this,
we haven't been given an opportunity yet.
Yeah.
We're talking with your leasee to lease another property. We're trying to see what options are available there. I haven't spoken to Mr. Roca. He offered parking. I haven't spoken to him yet about leasing them. Okay. But we haven't been given an opportunity. The first time they came to us, they told us to move the cars because we're going to damage the cable. We were going to damage the cable that was on the road. So we moved the cars. We're bending backwards in every direction to see what you all want done. But usually we have to respond to everybody that goes on our property and tells us what to do. And that isn't the right way to approach the issue.
And certainly, Mr. Gonzalez, neither you nor any of the employees of your lessee are harassing any other.
We just stopped 30 people the other day because they each were given a citation individually, and they were told that they were going to be towed away on the following day.
Well,
Can I go ahead.
You will issue citation for parking on the road, all right? You know the rules of not parking on the road. Or you guys, like you say, you're looking into finding parking space, and that's my concern. Because you get more people there, you say 100 people and only have 20 cars, I believe you might stretch it. If you get more people there, you'll have to find more place for people to park.
They're broken into 2 shifts. It will be broken into 2 shifts.
Well, it'll be 50 and 50.
Yeah, about 50 and 50. Right now, they're about 30.
Everywhere, you can ride around the fishing hub. Everywhere, everyone that has a lease has a parking space inside, or their fences moved so they can park out of the road. And I believe most of them, that's all they ask them, try to get the cars off the road.
Donna?
I just wanted to say that when I was first called about this situation, we sent a police officer out, and I think
This was pursuant to a complaint?
Yes, and George went out, I think, and looked at it, and he talked to several people. He's got some pictures there. But the problem is that I see, and I spoke with you, Mr. Gonzalez, is that one day we'll go out and we'll tell everybody, okay, this is the way you need to park, and then for a couple of days everything's fine, and then, due to something that happened, I think it rained out there one day, and that was why, y'all couldn't pull up fully. And so, there were some tires on the road, and they were sticking out, and so we got calls again. I sent George back over there. We took them a copy of the ordinance so that, they would know that there is an ordinance on our books, and that, we just need to abide by that. And so, I think it's just, one, we need to find a place for them to park, because this situation, as long as they're parking the way they're parking now, most of the people comply with it, but there are a few that don't. And it just keeps aggravating the situation. So, I mean, it's not all of them that are not parking right. It's just a few. But it's just a daily thing that keeps reoccurring. So, and I did tell George, and I will take full responsibility for that, I did tell George to go out there, and if they were not parked correctly, to give them a warning citation. I did.
And how many of those have been issued?
I think it was about 15 or 20 that were issued all the same day, which I think was Thursday
Of last week?
of last week.
Once the agenda item was posted?
Yeah, it was Wednesday or Thursday.
Probably.
But how many
I'm not
times?
sure.
How many times have we gone out there to
Because
talk?
I'm not sure
to
when
them?
the agenda was.
Well, it's normally
posted
about
on
that
Friday,
time.
yeah.
Right.
But we have been out there multiple times and asked them to park correctly. And so, I mean,
Well,
Here's a picture so you can get an idea.
I'm picking up on what Mr. Lassane had said earlier, that this was a long-standing problem, but yet the first time a citation was issued was just late last week.
Right. But we've
But
been
we've
going
been out
out there.
For quite a while, it's been going on. Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, you've seen it.
I see it every day.
You're there.
I'd like to speak. The only reason why any citation or anything's been issued is because I said that if they didn't hurry up and clear this up, we're going to make it public. And that's the only reason why it's even put on the agenda. I heard Judge Alejandro say that my brother went over there and harassed Mr. Gonzalez. He asked Mr. Gonzalez very politely to move the car so we could go through that. He's sitting right here so he can speak for himself. I didn't go over there to Mr. Gonzalez. But this morning when I was there, Mr. Gonzalez was there. He was in the middle of the road. Two of the workers from the port, I have their license numbers right here, was coming toward me. He had the road blocked. So they don't seem to want to be a friendly lessees. They just want to stay there and do whatever they want to. When Mr. Roca had that lease place there, he was building shrimp boats there. He didn't bother anybody. He had a lease. He parked his cars. And all. Why is this man has a lease and don't have a place to park his cars? How can the commission do something like this and not even advise them that they have to park cars?
I guess we need to hear from B on that point.
And another thing, where they're parking the car is a port easement. Like if you got a broken pipe or anything else that's broken, that's what that easement's there for. If it wouldn't be there, we'd have put a fence right alongside the road. So they're intruding in the port's property. And Mr. Galita come and talk to me, and he told me not to worry about this here, that it was his job to take care of this. So far, this is where we're at today. And it still haven't been solved because, as Mr. Alejandro just got through telling you all, we created a lot of jobs too in that shrimp basin. And we've been there ever since that shrimp basin was built. I've been there since the day when we moved there, me and my father. So I'm not late. I never had a citation, and I always had a friendly relationship with all the lessees. We have never had a problem until this come up. These people seem to be able to come to the shrimp base, do whatever they want to, and they don't care about the other lessees. Talk to George Gonzalez, which is down below me. He had the same problem. He's not here today. Maybe he was busy or whatever it is, but he did let me know that he had a problem with this also.
B, what about this point that Mr. Lassane is making, that this lease should never have been given to this particular tenant?
Again, like Mr. Gaiman mentioned earlier, we have had in the past 2 other lessees
that were not in the shrimping industry. We had Omni there, or a Faust Tug that built tugboats there. There was a Launchways there. And then it was Mr. Roca, who has built boats there, and also did subcontract work for Amphils in the past, and did this the same type of work that Landro is
So
doing.
there is a precedent for there being
Yes, sir.
shrimping industry.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gonzalez, is it a matter of your business just being more successful than you thought it would be, and just therefore having a need for more workers?
Well, that's one thing, that's we do have a need, and this is getting to a point where we may have additional space. But I do want to correct something that Mr. Lassane spoke. I've never spoken to his brother. Maybe his brother could see my face, but I've never talked to him. He's never been to talk to me. And this morning it was raining. I couldn't stop. I was on the side of the road. I had just sent everybody home at 8:30, and I stayed there until 9:30 to tell the other people that they could leave.
Yeah.
They were coming in. But
Are you in discussions right now with our leasing department about leasing additional property?
that is correct.
Well, why don't we let those discussions play out, and then let's table this? I mean, for all of our sakes, I don't want this to degenerate into a name calling. But I think those discussions should continue. We'd love to have you rent more property. We'd love your business to be as big as possible. We'd love to have you. But then again, I understand the point that Commissioner Collins is making. But I think we should let these negotiations continue as quickly as possible. We have another meeting in 2 weeks. Let's see where we are there, and we can take it from there.
Very good.
I'd like to say something since my name was mentioned. What happened is they moved in there and they were using the road as a parking lot, okay? They're parking on both sides of the road. It's very dangerous going and going back. Then someone would double park with 2 lanes of cars, and they would talk, and that would stop the traffic. One time I went, and there's a curve. You take the curve. There was someone that was changing a tire. He moved the car in the middle of the road to change the tire. Now, I felt sorry for him, I had to change the tire, and then especially in the middle of the road, but that was dangerous. That was a dangerous situation. Now, we have nothing against our neighbors, okay? But we don't take our cars and we don't try to harass our neighbors, okay? Now, Judge Alejandro is a judge. Now, he knows the law, and he knows what needs to be done. Now, just hearing this conversation, y'all are saying that this piece of land is too small for this operation because you're going to have 50 or 100 cars there, and where are they going to park? Now, if they cannot park inside their property, there's a problem. We park our cars inside the property. We have it paved, we got collision. We have no problems with that.
But the discussions that are ongoing involve leasing additional property that would house these additional cars.
That's
right?
correct. We do have a lot across the street. And initially, when we were under lease negotiations, I did make mention to Judge Alejandro that because he mentioned he would possibly be having about 100 people out there working, I mentioned that across the street we had an additional lot that he would probably need for parking to envision, that. So from the very start, I did mention that lot, and it is available, and now we're under, I have talked to Mr. Gonzalez, and so hopefully in the
Try to
next 2
make that
weeks we
happen
can,
as soon as possible.
yes.
This is a solution that would meet with your approval as well.
It's a solution. It would meet with everybody's approval. It's not, I was called in on it, because there was a problem, and I wanted that there is a parking problem, and there will be in the future. I'm not against the business and all, but eventually, like the rain today, you go out there, park parallel against the fence, they'll all be in mud. So you'll have to. So to solve the problem, solve the shrimpers problem, and solve your problem. You got a good business going on. Get a parking lot, get your crews out there. Sure. You have no problem no more with that. Everybody be happy.
Any further discussion? All right, let's go ahead and move on. Thank you very much for everyone that came and spoke on this issue, and we will follow up on this if necessary at our next meeting. Item number 7: consider an act on naming and authorizing delegation to travel to Mexico City for meeting with Ambassador Tony Garza. This is actually a meeting that Vice Chair Collins and I had wanted to take. But got postponed because of our port director search. But I would like Commissioner Collins and Vice Chairman Collins and I and Port Director List to travel to Mexico City at the ambassador's convenience.
28th,
I'd rather keep that confidential, keep the date confidential. But this would be your first meeting trip abroad. It underscores the importance of our relationship with Mexico and our ambassador. We have any discussion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none.
I also want to send my condolences to Tony Garza and his family. His father just passed away. I heard
about that.
A few days ago. So as a Port family, we obviously send our respects to him and his family.
Absolutely.
All right, next item on the agenda is consider an act on consulting contract for work contract. A, Esther Rodriguez, Sylvia, $4,000, and B, same thing for another $4,000.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Reason there's two, we didn't get her July, so this is for July and August.
July and August. The motion made and second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain on this motion. Item number 9, consideration to enter into memorandum of agreement with the U.S. Department of the Army, U.S. Army engineer for Galveston District, for participation in the maintenance dredging of the non-federal berthing acres and channelship of the Port of Brownsville. Possible action. And
Mr. Collins, this is in reference to our upcoming dredging of the ship channel. What the port would like to do is to participate with the Corps of Engineers and take advantage of the contractor being in place so that we can potentially save some money on mobilization, demobilization cost to do dredging of non-federal areas, which is our docks. And basically we're contemplating docks 11, 12, 13, cargo dock 15, all docks 3 and 5. The estimated cost is about $350,000 to $400,000 that we will participate with the Corps of Engineers. The way it is going to be broken in is that there's going to be an alternative item, an alternative bid item on the federal bid package, and based on what that quantity comes, that will be what we would share to the Corps of Engineers for that contractor to dredge our facilities.
our share would be $350,000, or the whole.
That's the estimated. Yes, it's based. Yes, it will be on a separate bid item to be determined at the time of the bid opening.
Hector, how much would the whole thing project cost? Do you have any idea?
Our allocation right now is $3.8 million.
$3.8 million.
They're only responsible, Mr. Collins, for the channel.
Right.
And these are to do our surrounding docks to
around
get
the
them
dock.
back down to the proper draft. And Hector, when's the last time we had that done?
1992, when the turning basin was built.
When the turning basin was deepened. So that's the last time that it's been done.
Motion was made. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Jim. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Item number 10. Peter?
Okay,
You're here.
thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair. Discussion and consideration to enter into a consulting contract with Coast and Harbor Engineering for providing professional engineering services in connection with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Port Deepening Project. Possible action. Hector?
Yes, sir. As we continue our discussions with the Corps of Engineers for the feasibility of the port deepening project, I'm requesting assistance from I'd like to obtain the assistance from Coast and Harbor Engineering. They're a small engineering firm located out of Austin and Washington to help us do some preliminary analysis of the alternatives that the Corps of Engineers has anticipated in doing as part of the project management plan. The general idea is that the Corps of Engineers is envisioning looking at 3 depths with each depth with an additional widening. We feel that that's a little bit excessive because we need to know or have an indication of what kind of vessels we anticipate so that whenever we negotiate with the Corps of Engineers what configuration we should be looking at, that we're not caught up in a situation in which we investigated let's say a 55 or 52 foot depth that does not really fit our purpose. And so this will basically give us some leverage to negotiate our PMP with the Corps of Engineers. Again, I'd like to add that we approved this contingency on October 1st, obtaining the $2 million from the Corps of Engineers from the federal appropriation to continue with the project.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Thank you, Hector.
Thank you.
Consider and take action on prioritizing port road improvements from available federal funds. Mr. Gutierrez?
Should be one for Daniel also.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, the new federal transportation bill contains $2 million for road improvements within the port area, and this is thanks to the efforts of Congressman Ortiz and our Randy DeLay. I was called last week by TxDOT asking for us to give them the project that we would be doing for this $2 million. And I told them, of course, that I needed to bring this to the board.
Mr. Gutierrez, first of all, has the President signed this authorization?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. And in addition to the $2 million, if we look at this, we could stand to have left over from the railroad relocation project about $1.3 million. All the bills are not in yet. Could be 1.3, could be maybe a little less than that. But I am going at 1.3. Now, when you take that 1.3 and that $2 million, that totals to $3.3 million, and we have to go in with a local share of 20% of federal expenditures. So, in other words, it's about $660,000 that the port would put up if we were to do all this work that we're looking at, or a total of $3.9 million of road improvements. Now, the $660,000 can be in the form of in-kind match. We can go in and we will have to hire some consultants to develop plans for us. Construction inspection, maybe adjustment to the railroad crossings. Well, with that in mind, what I did was I came in here, and if you look at, and I color-coded this, my recommendation is we look at this, and I'll go over them one by one, is to first of all go look at Faust Road. More or less from the entrance all the way to East Terminal Road, which is up there where the Portacan is. What we would propose there is to, or I proposed, is to put reconstruct the 24-foot pavement, more or less, that's there, and add paved shoulders. Right now, there's no paved shoulders when it rains, and everything is nasty even when it's dry, you know. So what I want to do is, and I'm advocating adding shoulders to this project. We're looking at about $950,000. One of the things that I might warn you is, or two things. One of them is prices, because of the cost of oil, are escalating. We don't know what it's going to be next month or whenever we get ready to go. But this is the best estimate that I can give you, and it's padded a little bit to be sure that we compensate for some of it. The other thing is that we have quite a number of driveways in there that to do it right, we need to pave all those driveways to keep this caliche and everything from being tracked back into the road. The next priority that I would advocate is giving some attention to the fishing harbor roads. Now, I realize that our business is down there. It's not generating the income we would like to see. However, we have an investment in the roads. We haven't touched them in years and years. And what I'm proposing in there is to go in and overlay or repave all the roads within the shrimping harbor, the fishing harbor. As number 3, I have listed the...
Nino, that includes Bayou Court and Cajun Court?
Yes, sir. I think, well, I didn't...
Highlighted.
I didn't call it.
It's not highlighted.
That includes all the roads.
The interior.
It does include the non-highlighted, the two non-highlighted roads?
In the middle. Yes, oh, you have
His is highlighted.
Well, she missed it, but mine are highlighted.
Okay.
These are the important copies.
Well, mine has it highlighted. But anyway, no, it's all the paved roads within the fishing harbor. And we certainly don't want to.
I think you left the oil patch out of there?
No.
That's the reason he acted.
The next one would be, we have several short sections of road, Mineral Loop Road, the west and east leg, Yard Road over on 511, and what we would want to be doing there is reconstruct and pave those roads. What I can envision here is two 24-foot lanes with a 3-foot paved shoulder to keep the trucks from eating out the edge of the pavement. So we're looking at about $250,000 there. Following that would be improvements to Ostos Road. Now this one, even though I've listed it where I have, this one's going to take quite a bit of doing. It's the most heavily used road, heavy from both volume and load-wise, and it's in bad shape. We need to take a real close look as to just what is it we want to do there. My gut feeling right now is that there's about 12 inches of base there and about 3 inches of blacktop. Then we would take the top 8 inches of base and 3 inches of blacktop and mix them in, stabilize them with lime, set them back again, and then come in with about 4 inches of asphalted concrete pavement. I'm looking at about $1.4 million on that. One of the things that I have not considered in there, and we would want to address also, is some of these driveways. One thing I might tell you about that road is that any improvements that we do using federal funds, we need to bring the road to safety standards. And there are some power poles that are right at the edge of the pavement that we're going to have to address, either fence them off or spend some money and move those power poles away. Quite frankly, right now they're too close, and in my opinion, they're dangerous. As we move on this, the next one would be Winstead, and this would be between Faust and Ostos Road. That's in front of the Harbor Master's office. And here again, what we want to do is reconstruct and add paved shoulders to it at about $350,000. I might add that any construction that I'm advocating in here that has a railroad crossing, we would redo the railroad crossings to a concrete planking. We would probably have to work with BRG on this and see if we can get a cut rate from them on this thing.
I know a few people.
I'm glad you're saying that.
Always got some connections.
Hostess Road on mine, it's not carried out all the way to the end. So mine just didn't get marked.
It probably didn't, but mine goes all the way to the end. Now, I might add.
He's saying about the other end. And all those.
No, we start right there at Milo Road.
That's Milo.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to check all the coloring on that thing, but we started right at Milo and go all the way.
It wouldn't be right to leave a block and a half unpaved.
I don't intend to, no, sir. But I might add, on Ostos Road, I'm not advocating that we rebuild everything from one end to the other one. The back part of the east end, I don't know what the distance is, but we would just be overlaying it, just repaving it.
Yeah.
And now I've listed 2 other roads in here, Anchor Road and Oil Dock Road. Those were authorized some years back by the board to rehab, but I'm putting those in the back burner, and I want to see how far we can go with the monies that are available before we move in on this. In my opinion, the first top 5 roads need to be addressed.
Is this from this money that's right here? Is this mainly from how do we get this money from?
Well, $2 million is coming from the new Federal Surface Transportation Act. The 1.3 million is an appropriations that was passed sometime back that gives us a flexibility to either put it on the railroad or use it on the infrastructure.
Remember we Henhoff?
Now, what I'd like to do is what I'm looking at is for some direction from you all on the prioritization.
I was going to ask you about that, Nino. Not to question your priorities, but what criteria did you use, either knowingly or unknowingly? What criteria did you use to prioritize these?
Well, probably more my gut feeling and my experience in seeing the roads here the way they are. And like I say, if we were to go in and say, okay, what's the most heavily traveled, the most heavily used road, it's Austin's Road, but I'm setting that lower down, and primarily because I think we need to improve Faust Road and make the port entrance look good all the way through, you know. And what I'm saying is there's only so much money, and later on, and I would like to do Austin's Road. Might be that if we run out of money, we might come back and say, you know, to ask you all to see what direction you want us to take on it.
I know last time the Fishing Harbor Road was done, when they redone the docks, which was in 1991, Joe, in 1992. That's about 15 years ago. So,
I mean, right now it can be overlaid.
Yeah.
Without reconstruction.
That's
if
right.
it doesn't get overlaid pretty quick, then you're going to be spending a lot more money.
They did that on the main road last time. They had to redo it. And now just an overlay, what you're saying, that'd be ideal. It'd be
The priorities that Nino has look good to me.
Yeah. Is the overlay basically what they've done to 511
Yes,
since
sir.
our last meeting?
Yes, sir.
Wait, they used to call it seal coat?
No, sir.
That's a different?
Right. An overlay is a thick mat, you know, about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. A seal coat is just a squirt of oil with some rock spread on top. That works good on rural roads, and because what you're trying to do is waterproof the base, you know.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Go ahead.
Real quick comment that I took a tour with Nino on that, and he mentioned that I think one of the really important features is the shoulders that will be added there. Will give a little more breadth as far as transit in and out of there.
That's on Faust Road, right?
On actually
which road?
I was thinking Faust, but
That would be on Faust and also on Windhouse. We don't have the room unfortunately on Austin's Road to do that. Comment was made earlier about water lines and everything. We seem to be crowding our roads with some utilities where we ought to stay away from.
At what point would we need to kick in the 660?
Well, what I'm going to advocate in here, and I will come back later to you all, probably the next go-around, is for authorization to hire a consultant to develop the plans. And I think that route is the way to go in order to go in and do it fast. And what I will be talking to TxDOT also and FHW, Federal Highway Administration, is if they will authorize us to use that money that we spent through the consultants as in-kind match and for part of our 20%. Answer to your question is going to be up front if we use some of that.
So is the motion, whoever made the motion, is that to authorize the expenditure of up to $660,000?
Yes.
Well, I'm looking for prioritization on it.
Yeah.
Is that only that what you're asking for right now? Are you only asking for that?
At this point, yes.
You can get both if you want it.
What do you mean both?
You get authorization for the 660,000 of in-kind, or
have we budgeted?
No, that's what we're saying. We need
I
to
think
go back.
primarily what I'm looking for right now is direction on the prioritization.
So the motion is to approve the priorities.
Yeah.
Okay, and nothing more.
Nino,
You have a second to that?
one more question. On the utilities, the telephone poles you're talking about, could we talk with utility companies about them moving it, or would it be our expense?
I think it's going to be our expense. But we can talk to them and see what they're willing to do.
That one pole I know it's right in the way.
Who's are they? PUB. There is in the, and well, The water code says that any utilities within the port that need to be moved, it's at our expense. But we can talk to them and see.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the priority. We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? There are none. Thank you, Nino. Item number 12. Consider an act on participating in the expense for the application for a U.S. Corps of Engineer permit to improve the flow of water from the ship channel to State Highway 48. Maximum participation to be $10,000.
I think what I need to do there is, first of all, clarify, we have not committed, the staff have not committed the BND in any way whatsoever to undertake any project at this point. Where we're coming from on this, or where I'm coming from, is that several years back, if I may, Mr. Gaiman asked me to look at a certain area in there that's in line with, if you look at the back up there, there's a map there in the back.
Where's the map?
It's
right, second page.
Right in front of 13, it's right there in front.